Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Right, so since yesterday, I know a lot of you guys have been asking me to do a video on a response to Shelly Finkel, where he said that he will revisit the Anthony Joshua negotiations next year because Wilder currently has a full calendar or full schedule, whatever word you used. So here it is. And make sure you click the thumbs up to this video and subscribe if you haven't done so already. So Shelly Finkel, not interested in Anthony Joshua fight. He did say that he's on pretty good terms with John Skipper of DAZN. And again, you see, before we get into him not wanting to fight or negotiate with Joshua until next year, him talking about how he's building a relationship with John Skipper is going to help make the fight. So that in itself, Wilder fans, Wildettes, that should tell you in itself that Wilder fighting Joshua or Wilder fighting anyone is entirely dependent on the feelings of Shelly Finkel. Shelly Finkel doesn't like Eddie Hearn because Eddie Hearn called him Shirley Winkle and it started a trend of people calling him Shirley Winkle. So he did everything that he could to scupper that deal. Would that be fair to say or not? I know you don't like hearing it, but Wilder does exactly what Shelly Finkel tells him to do. He's in control. Him saying right there, him building a good relationship with John Skipper is what's going to help make the fight happen. So the fight is entirely up to Shelly Finkel, not Wilder. Wilder has no say in that. So that's the first point. Now, the main point of what you guys were asking me to do was talk about the fact that him allowing Deontay Wilder to fight Anthony Joshua until next year. And I know that a lot of people, especially his fanatical ones, have been saying for a long time, oh, it's Anthony Joshua don't want to fight, it's Anthony Joshua ducking, Eddie Hearn doesn't want it, blah, blah, blah. Or we're trying to shift the blame. When I've told you since day one exactly what it is about. And guess what? I've been right every step of the way. It was Wilder's team that never wanted to fight. Shelly Finkel spoke about how, well, we wanted to fight because we accepted 15 million. That should tell you in itself that we wanted to fight. But you didn't sign the contract. What do you mean you didn't sign the contract? And then, of course, he was talking about the 50 million and everything. Again, I mean, the whole thing was a red herring, okay? It was all hype. It was all trying to get people to talk about Wilder, build up his name. But they just don't want to fight. Shelly Finkel has made it very clear that they don't want the fight. When Wilder won the WBC title, which was previously vacant, when Bermane Stiverne got it, much like Joshua did with Charles Martin. But yet Joshua's paper champion according to these guys, right? But yet Wilder won it in the exact same fashion. But regardless, it just seems to me that it's Shelly Finkel, okay? He's controlling Wilder. He's the one who says yes or no. Okay, he's the one who never wanted to fight because he allowed personal feelings to get in the way. And now for him saying that we're going to fight Joshua in 2020 or we'll look at it again next year, goes to show exactly what I told you guys quite some time ago, and others have been saying it too, that the plan is always going to be Dominic Breazeale, then Luis Ortiz, and then Adam Kownacki. And don't forget, Tyson Fury's looming around in here as well, which is what Shelly Finkel said. So we might not actually get a Joshua fight until 2021, 2022. Because Wilder just doesn't want it. He's not in control of his own career. How you can't see this is beyond me. Shelly Finkel don't want the fight. Why is he talking about having a rematch against Luis Ortiz? Who wants to see Wilder take on Luis Ortiz again? Who? We've already seen that fight. Isn't that right, Wilder fans? When you guys saying, well, who wants to see Joshua versus White? We've already seen that. Yeah, well, that was 3-4 years ago. Wilder and Ortiz was, what, 1 year ago? So why do we want to see that fight again? Why do we want to? This is why Luis Ortiz wasn't allowed to fight Joshua. I started to understand that they want to keep that WBC title in-house. They don't want to risk it outside. They want to keep it. They will do everything they can. They're perfectly fine with Luis Ortiz beating Wilder. They're fine with Adam Kownacki doing it because the belt stays in-house. It's about the belt. It's not about Wilder. And Wilder needs to realise him turning down $100 million was plain stupidity. And they have shown every step of the way that they never wanted this fight. You don't say, well, we accepted 15 million, right? Well, you can accept anything you like. If you don't sign a contract, you don't get the fight. He spoke about how the fight could have been at Wembley in September. No, it couldn't have been because, again, one of your bosses over there at Showtime, Stephen Espinosa, said, we ain't putting on Joshua versus Wilder here on Showtime in September because Canelo versus Triple G rematch was 1 week before. So we ain't doing it. So, Finkel, look at your own team. They were the ones who said no to September, not Eddie Hearn. But Eddie Hearn gave you an alternative. End of October, early November at Cardiff. Because Wembley isn't free then. But what difference does it make? Because you were getting a guaranteed 15 million anyway, which is absolutely crazy, really. Too much money for Wilder, way too much. And now he's been offered $100 million after losing his last fight and getting gifted a draw. Suddenly his stock goes up. Of course it doesn't. It was Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury should be holding on to that belt. Not Wilder. Wilder's a paper champion, man. And not in control of his own career. And the Wilder fans, they know it. They do know it. They ain't that stupid. When everything is right in front of your face. They don't want the fight with Joshua. You guys talking about all we want is the best versus the best. All we want is undisputed. We don't care about this. We don't care. Yes, you do, because you are defending it. Joshua's trying to make the fight. He wants the fight. But Wilder's team don't want it. Because Shelly Finkel got called Shirley Winkle by Eddie Hearn. And for the fact that they are afraid that Anthony Joshua will defeat Wilder and remove that belt from the PBC platform. Pretty obvious, isn't it? That's why they're talking about 2020. And when 2020 comes around, after Wilder has his next 3 fights, if he gets past all 3 of those guys, by the way, there'll be another excuse. It'll be Tyson Fury. It'll be somebody else. So, I don't know, FAA Jagbar at that point might be highly ranked around that point. There'll always be an excuse. These guys don't want undisputed. They don't want it. They never did. And I told you this from the very beginning, but you wouldn't listen. But now, hopefully, you realise, I know you're not going to admit it. Of course not. Because this shows what complete shills you guys have been. But Wilder don't want to fight. Shelly Finkel don't want to fight. Al Heyman don't want to fight. Nobody wants to fight except Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, and of course subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.